think we're dazzling. We're already live.
Look at there.
Are you guys ready to go here?
Whoa.
Always.
In front of the fake fire?
That was fast. Did you tweet it out so people know
let's
this
get
is
it going.
live?
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of ATL on Fire, the podcast where we talk all things Atlanta United and all things soccer. And we have the crew back together, Dave.
Yay!
Carmen, missing for 2 straight. Welcome back.
I'm back. Hello, gentlemen.
Thanks
Good to be back.
You ditched
The
your son's
podcast went
soccer
off.
game. You're dedicated to the fire.
I was one of those people. I was like, I don't have anything on Tuesday. And then Katz was like, I prefer Monday. And I was like, crap, there's a Lakeside game.
Are you a Vikings fan, by the way?
No, that's
Lakeside.
Lakeside. That's
Oh,
the
okay.
high
I
school.
Come on, Lakeside.
Okay. Lakeside.
Yes.
There you go.
I'm one of
Well, I
those
have
super
to say, Carmen, the podcast went off the rails without you. So thank goodness you're back.
I listened both times. The both ones I missed. I missed you guys.
Okay.
So glad to be
We missed you
back.
too.
We missed you too. And Dave and I got into a nice bottle of wine, but we saved you one.
Yes, we
But
did.
Dave has also brought a lovely red wine to the show this evening, the Bonanza.
Bonanza, because that's what we're hoping for. The club is experiencing a bonanza.
We're in. I mean, 1-1-1 is
I know it's not good enough. That's why a bonanza.
not good enough. We need a bonanza. It feels like we're on the cusp of a bonanza, but it's not coming together quite yet. But this,
So close.
I'm going to take a second sip here and give you. an
Okay, so
opinion.
this is a California Cabernet from the maker from Camus Vineyards. I don't know if you know that one, Caymus. I don't know how to pronounce that, but it's like Camus Vineyards is like legit.
Well, I approve. So that's what matters.
Really good. Did you
That's
say
really nice.
Caymus?
Yes,
This
But it's
is
not cheap.
This is the wine that my rich boss at my last job, everyone would go to the Christmas party just to get this wine. Like
okay.
literally, that's all we
well,
did.
they make multiple wines. This is not their most expensive from
Okay.
Camus, because otherwise that would be like,
Okay.
I can't afford that probably.
I'd also like to say that Katz is like really fancy and knows his stuff because all of us, when we went to the party, were like, we're going for Camus. We're going for the Camus.
I don't know. I don't
Or-
actually know how you properly
Or like the
pronounce it.
video said, just order the second least expensive wine, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Never order the cheapest wine, right?
Right. But I could be a total Neanderthal here. Like, I don't really know how to pronounce it.
Oh, I don't know, but it's good.
Because I don't hang out with people who are fancy enough to have this wine. So I've never heard actually people properly pronounce it. I don't know.
Well, spring is upon us, so a good trip would be up to Dahlonega, Georgia, Dave, to visit Wolf
Yes, it
Mountain
would.
Vineyards up in Dahlonega Plateau. If you guys haven't had Georgia wine, the best out there is Wolf Mountain Vineyards. And, if you're looking for events, go to their website. If you're going to get married soon, a great event spot to celebrate big occasions. Get up there to Wolf Mountain Vineyards.
Amen.
Heck yeah.
Amen.
And then if you don't want to make that journey up to Dahlonega and also like beer, Wild Heaven Breweries here in Avondale Estates is a great location. Also West End and the new location at Toco Hills, which is Dave and Carmen's spot for
my
barbecue
jam.
and a little closer to y'all. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I had a work party there the other night.
Yeah. How'd it go?
Awesome.
Good. And our friend Hayden has soccer games. If you're more of a EPL fan, there's games on that he'll be showing in the
They had
the
an
mornings.
Atlanta United viewing party for this last game.
Oh,
there.
very nice.
Oh, okay.
So just so you know, folks, you can probably go there and watch the ATL when we're on the road.
Awesome.
Very nice.
So we've got 2 games to talk about. We went on the road to Charlotte 2 weeks ago and faced off against Zaha and the Charlotte FC team in his debut there, and ended up losing 2-0 after, I think, making it to halftime at 0-0.
Correct.
And then,
Well, past halftime. I don't
Yeah,
think
I
they
think-
scored till like
Yeah.
60 something. I mean,
past halftime is what I meant. And then this last weekend on Saturday, back at the Mercedes-Benz, we hosted the New York Red Bulls and ended up, unfortunately, getting a 0-0 draw after putting a ton of pressure on the Red Bulls between like the 15th minute and the 10th minute and the 25th minute. There was just nonstop action and no result, even though we were texting back and forth. And I feared that if we didn't put it away, that either they were going to get a goal against the run of play, which they almost did, or we ended up getting 0-0, which is not great. So a little disappointment, understandably, from the Atlanta United fans out there. We are now 1-1 with 4 points on the table. I think we're in like 10th place or something like that.
To be fair, there's a tie from 6th place all the way through 11th.
So
that's
early
not really,
on
we're in
in the
6th place and 11th place at the same time, Mike Adams.
A casual fan would say this is a same old team. Dave, where are you with watching the soccer and your belief with things right now? What's your worried meter, I guess, between 1 and 10 on a scale right now, 3 games in, with the potential you were truly hoping for 3 weeks ago? Where are you?
1.
Your worried meter is at 1.
Yeah, I'm not worried at all.
All right.
Anybody who's watching the soccer, there's a lot of people out there like, look, we're having the same outcome as Pineda. Then it's actually the intrinsic, I think even Felipe Cardenas, tweeted out that, maybe people are realizing that there are more intrinsic problems in the locker room. I think that's a bunch of hooey, right? Actually, if you watch the soccer, anybody who thinks that we're the same team as what was under Pineda doesn't know what they're looking at.
Carmen,
not at all.
Carmen,
and I'm gonna prove this as we start to talk about that.
So, Carmen, what's your concern
worried
level
meter?
1 through 10? Worried meter. What?
I'll go 3. I'm not too worried. Not too worried, but I'm a little bummed. Just I got really excited to come down a little, but not too worried.
What's yours, Mike?
I would say between a 2 and a 3, 2, 3, especially early on here. I see so much potential of new guys playing together for the first time and kind of in a constructive way at 6s and 7s and not timing their runs in that offensive part of the field. I think once they sort that out and we get the confidence of really going on a run like we should have against the Red Bulls, like we should have at moments, even in the Charlotte game, I think it'll come around. But I will be worried in 2 or 3 more games if I don't start to see that potential come to fruition.
Sure. But I think, as I said from the very beginning in the preseason podcast, there's going to be some bumps in the road for the first 6 or 8 games for sure. I mean, you have not only you have a brand new coach, but you also have a bunch of key players who are brand new, right? So
you got
Latte Lath has not, he's been here a week, right? Like, Click, has only been here a little bit of time, right?
Matthew Edwards and Amador, all these guys are really playing together for the first time.
We only got Amador back this weekend. He missed the first game. We still don't have Lennon back, and people plus or minus that. But, we'll talk about that. But
and I mean, I think, not to jump to the Red Bulls game right away, but I think that's what I noticed the most with all the opportunities we had in that game is just like realizing that it's just not enough time in real game situations for those guys to figure out their own timing and maybe being a little selfless or a little more of a teammate at sometimes and pass the ball at the right time to make things really work the way they should have. I just saw some mistimed things, which were clear that they just hadn't had that game level experience together to sort it out.
Yeah, I mean, again, if you compare and contrast to the Pineda era where often we didn't get the ball in their box, and then even if we did, we were reduced to just crossing it. And when we crossed it, there was like one guy in the box who wasn't really good in the air. There were crosses in the air. If you look at our team now, we're getting in the box routinely.
Yes.
They are inside the box where there's balls that are, on the ground, whatever, that are close. Right? There are multiple people in the box every time. We are turning the ball back over when they win it, right? This is a night and day. It's not even the same.
And I don't know, you probably know the stats better than me, but I think we actually have lacked the possession totals in all 3 games.
It's been very close.
It's been pretty close.
But about 50-50.
We're not totally trying to be a possession-dominant team, but to your point, it seems like when we do have it, it's more productive.
And, Pineda used to talk about XG all the time, how we out-XG them, and that's BS. But because XG is like, it ain't really like, I often disagree with the computer in terms of what is an expected goal. But anyway, having played the game a long time. But in any case, we're out XGing them, but we're also getting quality chances that are deep in their box, that are in good players, right? Like,
all right,
come on.
So let's get into the Charlotte game then, Dave.
Okay.
I'll be honest. I was a little drowsy while I watched that game, and the game didn't help my afternoon excitement about it. What was your take on the Charlotte game, which, the first half, it seemed like, it was at least actually pretty decent game to watch.
We dominated,
played pretty well, right?
We outshot them 10-2 in the first half.
Yeah.
10-2. First of all, 10 is a lot of shots and a half, right? And 10-2 is a dominating statistic on the road.
When's the last time
against the Charlotte team that's supposed to be really amongst the top 5 or 6 teams in the league?
I'd be interested to see how that compares to first halves of Pineda in terms of like shots on just shots.
We never got shots.
Yeah, we did.
We got expected goals that didn't come with shots. And that's one of the things where I often disagree with the computer. They can give an expected goal or whatever if there's a chance in the box that nobody ever even gets a shot off. And you're like, that may not have expected a goal if you didn't get a shot. Right? Or it's blocked or whatever. Anyway.
In the New York game, I think we had 10 shots, seven on frame.
Yeah, you know how many shots on goal they had?
They had 5 or 2.
I think it's 0.
Oh, you're right. They did have
0.
They had 0.
They didn't have a shot on goal.
In the first half?
No, game.
Red Bulls had 0 on
0.
target.
They had one good chance. But it wasn't on goal. The guy skied it over from the 6-yard box. I don't think Guzan made a save in the whole game.
Jeez, okay.
0. So, again, because Pineda would be like, oh, we're unlucky. We had dominated. They would get up the field, and they would get a goal. But first thing they would do is get a shot on goal to get a goal, right? Yeah. And we did give up, you might say it's similar because we dominated. They got up the field a little bit, but they didn't get up the field very much. And we didn't give up a shot on goal. So that is also very different.
Yeah, very.
So the Charlotte starting lineup, do you recall who we came out with?
Yes. I mean, so the thing that was surprising was Click was not in the starting lineup, and people were like, what? And it turned out he was sick. Yeah, he had a cold. But other than that, it was so Fortune played for him instead of Miyamba, who actually played for him in the second game against Red Bulls.
So why didn't he play in the second game?
Yeah, is he still sick?
I feel like he's back. He was on the bench. I'm going to guess that he had a pretty nasty cold. Okay. He said that he maybe even had the flu. Okay. And I think he's back, but maybe not, still a little feeling it.
Got it.
Yeah. Didn't make it into the practices as much as
Yeah. So I think it's fine. No problem. And that'll help him. He's not a young guy at the end of the season. A little fewer games early on is no problem. But the rest of the team has been the same, exact same. Guzan in goal. And you had actually in the first game, because there was no Amador yet, we had the double nightmare that is Abram and Williams on the same side.
Whoop, whoop.
Yeah. So and if you're gonna notice where things happen, it's on the double nightmare side. We'll get to that. But anyway, so Abram was playing left back. And to be fair to Abram, he's not a left back, so he's playing out of position. But he's not good, and he's not a left back. So that's double bad on the double nightmare side. Yeah. Anyway,
all right.
And then Gregerson in the middle, and Edwards on the right, and the young player making basically his third game.
Making young mistakes, which we'll get to.
We'll get to. Yeah. Then the double pivot, in this case, it was Fortune and Sleaze instead of Click and Sleaze, the Polish pivot.
Well, look at you coming up with all the names.
Yeah. Well, no, that's Mikey Dallas.
I coined that while you were gone.
Yeah.
Well done, sir.
I like it. I'm going with it all the time. Polish pivot's awesome. And then the Miranchuk, Almiron, Saba, and Latte Lath.
Yeah.
It picks itself.
Yep.
So that was the lineup.
And what's your weakest link so far in because we've had to play without Lennon. We're playing Edwards. We've got to play with Williams. I'm assuming those two are on your list.
The nightmare backside, left backside. Abram and Williams was awful.
But Abram was out of necessity, right? So
as soon as Amador came back, he started and played the whole game, basically. So, I mean, Ronnie Dyler was like, I've seen enough of that also. So he made a change. And Amador I mean, to say that was an upgrade in the Red Bulls game, if anybody watched the left back in Charlotte versus the left back in against Red Bulls,
Yeah.
I mean, it was night and day.
I know you're going to critique Edwards in the first or second goal of the Charlotte game here, as you'll get to
Second goal.
Him mistiming, stepping up, and the ball going down the line behind him. I do think, me recalling the first half, him marking Zaha, he did a terrific job in the first half of putting a lot of pressure on him, winning individual duels with
You want to hear
Zaha?
my note at halftime?
So good first half for Edwards, correct?
My note at halftime was, as bad as Edwards was in week 1, he was absolutely dominating Zaha defensively.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. When is the last time we've had an outside back who can dominate with their defense?
Well, especially, I mean, that's
impressive.
Never, maybe.
I'm about to say, I'm like,
but that's the upside about Edwards, which I've seen from. I mean, he's a young
He
player.
was terrific.
To play against a other physical player like Zaha, who, I mean, that takes some chops to go up against him, and I think he did a fantastic job.
In the 27th minute, they had a great cross from Charlotte, but Edwards was actually tracking on the far post, unlike Lennon, and he ran it right out for over the touch. I mean,
and
playing defense.
Then I think Zaha got in his face, and he got back in his face. I was like,
I
love it.
Zaha he was so frustrated because he was marking the heck out of him. Zaha actually shoved him into the advertising boards, and then he got up and got in his face.
He did.
He was like, bring that EPL stuff. I got you.
I loved it.
But then Zaha came in the second half.
I mean, but
well, to be fair though, but Zaha in the second half didn't really beat Edwards. It was as we'll see on the two goals that we're about to talk about. Both were on the exact same play. Their right back was under so much pressure, just aimlessly booted up the ball.
You want to pull it up?
Which is going to come. And so I'm gonna go over it, right? So in the 49th minute, it was actually early in the second half. Charlotte just boots the ball up the field. Are we gonna do the second one first, Carmen?
I don't know.
Let's go to the second one first, actually.
Okay.
So in the 53rd minute,
that is the second one,
which was another aimless clearance, right? So in this one, we actually had, I can't remember whether it was a free kick or a corner, but we had a set piece way up in their end. And that's why everybody was forward. So there was no Gregerson. He was up the field or whatever. And so they left Edwards back, right? So Edwards actually was pretty far from the guy out wide. He was playing pretty loose, which was not great to begin with. But we had so much pressure after we didn't win the initial, we didn't score off the initial corner or free kick. I think it was a corner. But anyway, we had so much pressure that we won the ball back in, and then they won it again. And we had so much pressure on them that they just hoofed the ball up the field. I mean, it was just like anywhere will do, okay? And Edwards, oh my goodness. I mean, he just showed how young he is. He went, stopped, then ran, and he literally, the ball just bounces right over his head.
Where'd you go?
Yeah. And this actually, in my opinion, is not so much bad defending. It's just young and a little panicky.
Yeah. Yeah, because
So
all you had to do is something.
So we've just won the wall back. We play forward. They win it, and he's under
far
pressure.
Corner, he's like, hoof, see ya.
Yeah, he just kicks it aimlessly to nobody. He's too far off. And then, it goes right over his head. Now, stop it. Okay? Because here's the second problem, right? So on this play, I mean, Sleece does an amazing job of getting back and covering it, right? So
Sleece is on the ball.
Yeah, I think he's covering for it.
Okay.
There is a pretty weak shot right at Guzan, and he doesn't catch it. He doesn't palm it out of danger. He just kind of knocks it down right to Zaha. And this, honestly, I mean, I don't know if you'd absolutely say it's Guzan's fault, but it's awful goalkeeping, and he failed to bail us out.
Yeah. All right, let's see
the
it
clip
here. Yeah, that's pretty ping-pongy.
Oh.
And it's not even a great shot by Zaha.
So he could have pushed that over. He could have caught that because it wasn't hit that hard, but he just boinged it up in the air straight out front. Yeah, that's poor.
It was poor.
I mean,
especially in a situation like that, Guzan's usually way better. That's actually kind of his strength, right?
Right.
They're going to show it again. Here's the miss. Oh, Edwards, that was awful.
Oh,
but Sleaze does a beautiful job covering him behind him.
Fantastic.
Gregerson busts it all the way back. And it was only, so,
why is Guzan hitting that back into the center where he could have completely done, many other directions?
It was not good. And so people would say, Edwards lost Zaha. I mean, a number of people saying that, Zaha got the best of Edwards. No, he didn't. I mean, Zaha was on the far side. Yeah. Edwards actually went for the ball, and he was on the other side because it was he was the one guy back for the corner. So, and if it hadn't been palmed by Guzan right back to Zaha, then he never would have scored. Okay, so let's go to the other one. Maybe, Carmen, you can pull up the other clip because we might as well just do them at the same time. It's almost the exact same thing. Charlotte's in the 49th minute in their own corner. Again, hoofed it up the field like anywhere will do.
Sorry, which minute did you say?
49th minute.
We're going back. Okay. Oh,
backwards.
Big hump, as you said.
Yeah. And Williams judges it poorly, can only glance a header backwards. And that allows Zaha to run at Gregerson. And here's where this is just really unlucky.
I don't think we're sharing this.
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
So this is where it's really, really unlucky. Sleaze does another beautiful job of getting back. And what he's going to do is he's going to poke the ball away, Sleaze is, and he pokes it right to the Charlotte player who otherwise would have been offside, right? And that's why he's in on goal.
Does this look right? We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Here comes Sleaze all the way back, and he's the one who pokes it to the guy.
Oh, unlucky. That's unlucky.
And I believe, they'll show it again, I think. I believe if you watch that, when he pokes it, I think he would have been offside if he had just played it there. But because it was off of Sleaze, then it's off of our own. Right? Yeah. Here's where they're about to kick it up. Boom, he just hoofs it up the field.
Now they're
missed that header, which was awful. That was Williams. Right? Then he comes back in, and right at this second, he's off.
Yeah.
He would have been off. Why
is he heading that back into the middle? Like, play it off the back of your head, out of bounds or something.
Yeah, Williams. So that ball, if you go back a little bit to where it was kicked in the corner, Carmen, so see if you can freeze it right before he kicks it out of his own corner.
Back before the hump.
You can go all the way back.
Hump?
Yeah, they see the hump. Yeah,
right
there we go. Okay.
I done it too,
Love the hump. Oh, I went a little too far.
Yeah, you're okay. Let it run.
Just let it run. I got it.
All right.
So right here where he's about to kick it, right? So he kicks that under pressure just aimlessly from his own 18.
Yeah.
Okay? And watch how far the ball travels.
That's a boomer, like, rec league. Kick it out of the back.
Yeah, he was under pressure, and he just anywhere will do. But with the ball that high in the air from that far back, as a center back in MLS, you cannot misjudge it and head it backwards, right? Watch this go in the air, right? You can count it. It's like up, 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 right? You can't. I mean, that's just misjudged and poorly. He heads it backwards, right?
Yep.
I mean, again, do I blame Williams as the main thing on that? No. I think ultimately, actually, the defending here was not too bad. It was just really unlucky that Sleaze actually got back and poked it right to the offside.
Yeah, but he created danger for our own team. He's a boomer ball. Like I said, all you had to do is he played it off the back of his head, get it outside. But instead, he plays it right into the center where there's two Charlotte guys running down the center.
I mean, you can see now he has no choice but to head it backwards at this point, but it's because he reacted late.
Right.
That's it. Yeah.
Right. If you read it really quickly and reacted, he should have been back and heading it forward.
Yep.
Right. Now, our defense is very aggressive up the field, right? And so that's something that we have to get used to a little bit. But at the end of the day, so one of the things I want to say, I mean, this is my comeback to those who think that we are not better than the Pineda era. Okay? One of the things that I used to criticize the heck out of, and you guys were there, so you can verify this, right? So I used to criticize the heck out of it, is we would give up those counterattack goals, right? Or we'd give up goals, and many, many times, nobody got beat. right? They would either have a counterattack and Williams would be backing up and the guy would cut across the middle and just score, or there would be a cross out wide where we left him out wide. They played it out wide. They had all day to serve. They would serve it in and the guy would just win the header, okay? That is not what happened here, okay? So first of all, right, Williams, hit the header. And then even after that happened, him and Gregerson were both back. Sleaze got back in, right? And it was only an unlucky deflection that went to the open guy. Nobody got beat.
Totally. Different goals were giving completely different.
What I say is we did get beat as opposed to previously where nobody got beat, okay? And really the same thing you can absolutely say on goal number 2. So there, Edwards absolutely misjudges a ball.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. So he did get beat because it was a terrible misjudge of the ball. Yeah. Right? And then even after that, right, Guzan could have bailed him out, and so gone are the days where we would let them up the field. Nobody actually got a challenge in. Nobody was close and got beat, and then they would score. Mm-hmm. That is not the case. We had a guy on both times, and they misplayed the ball. I mean, Williams and Edwards really misplayed those balls, but...
Now, I can't recall in the Charlotte, and we don't need to go to the replay, but what was our best chance or two in that Charlotte game to score?
Can I say one more thing about it defensively first?
Yeah.
So, no. I started this by saying that it was the dreaded nightmare left side. Okay? Left side. All right? So, if you notice, we just played 2 clips. Okay? Who is our left back?
Amador?
No, not in this game.
Your favorite.
Who is our left back?
Is it
Abram? Abram is the left back. Did we talk about Abram?
We did
in this Charlotte game, no.
No, he was supposed to be our left back.
I thought he only started in the first game, but he was in the second game.
No,
too,
No. This is the first game.
No.
Against Charlotte.
That's the second game of the season.
Oh, but I mean the first game that we're talking about.
Right, no, right. I mean... I thought he only played in the first game of the season.
No, he started this game at left back.
All right.
Okay. So in the first game, he played center back and Hernandez played left back. But in this game, Hernandez was out and it was Abram who played left back and it was Williams who came in. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we didn't talk about Abram, right, Carmen? Did I say anything about Abram yet?
We did not.
No.
Not
Why?
In this game.
So where is Abram? Now, obviously, the one that's on the corner kick, he was up for the corner kick, right? But the other one was actually in live play, right? And both of them came on a long ball from their right corner to our left back.
Okay.
Where's our left back? Does anybody wondered what Abram did on those plays? So I wondered. And I was like, so I know we're aggressive. So Abram was like up the field. I'm like, okay, so maybe he's up the field and they played it over him. Okay. So in the first goal, Abram is up the field. Okay. But he fails to track at all. He's jogging back. And you know who scores?
Who scores, Dave Katz?
The guy who started right next to Abram.
Uh-oh. That's not cool.
Yeah.
So, was it his fault when all those other things happened? No. Did he fail to track his guy?
Could he have made a difference?
Absolutely, yes. Right?
And he's a defensive line guy, so if he's up, he should be getting his butt back.
Yes. So on the second goal, where let's see. Sorry, I missed my notes. So in the second goal, he also fails to chase back, right?
You had Sleaze mark the ball after Edwards let it go by him. And said
Sleaze comes flying back. Gregerson, you saw, made it all the way back into the play.
He's back in the middle.
But no Abram.
Nobody else is in the picture.
In both cases, it wasn't he got beat, but in one case, it was his guy who he was right next to at the start of the play, who he never tracked. Mm-hmm. And in the other case, it wasn't his guy, but he never got back to track either. So when I said there was a left combination, what I meant was Williams heading the ball backwards, bad, and Abram failing to track his guy, bad, double combination. That's what I mean.
Gotcha. All right.
So
in the second game, we have Amador. And if you notice, when we have Amador, how many long balls that we get over our heads did we give up goals?
So what about the positive, Dave?
Yes.
What about goal scoring opportunities? What were the good things you saw on the attack?
I mean, I saw lots of good things on the attack, right?
Do tell.
So,
and why didn't it lead to goals?
I will give you. You want me to start with my take on why we're not scoring, or do you want me to go over the actual offensive awesome things that we saw first?
Do that first.
Okay.
Charlotte offensive stuff first. Okay. That's awesome.
11th minute. Latte Loth gets a through ball from Almiron. He cuts it back twice, and 2 defenders fall over. Yeah. I mean, he made them look so silly. Now, the third guy did come back and slide and block it, and he maybe took a little too long. But, oh, my goodness, is he good on the ball.
Yeah.
Right? Because most of the time when you get one-on-one, you get the cutback or whatever, you make the defender fall over, he's going to score.
Right.
Okay. So that's also awesome. 17th minute, everybody's criticizing our designated player, Miranchuk. He had an amazing one-touch slip ball to Almiron at the top of the box, who walked in and then just slammed it into the goalkeeper. Now, Almiron is not really a finisher. He tends to do that sometimes. He hits the post a lot. He hits the goalkeeper a lot. So that's, not so great. In the 33rd minute, we had a ball that we played backwards to Guzan. Everybody's like, oh, we shouldn't play backwards, right? There's all this critique. And even Ronnie Dyla said, oh, we play backwards too much. We played the ball backwards, and then we proceeded to put on a combination of 11 consecutive passes that ended up in their 6-yard box. Ooh. If we had scored that goal, I mean, the goalkeeper made a save, but it would have been the goal of the season. I mean, it was unbelievable.
I recall.
It was absolutely stunning, right? 39th minute, Saba out wide with a great move. He hits a cross. It gets deflected. Latte Loss is first to react to it and absolutely hammers a volley that did go about 2 or 3 yards over, but
that thing was like
he
a
went
missile
backwards and hit a missile.
That was impressive.
Right? I mean, how many times did we see that from our friend Miguel Berry?
You just had to mention him. You just had to piss off.
How many times did we see that from
Marseille?
Well, anyway.
Where did you say he got traded to?
Where did he go? Columbus, yeah.
Which, by the way, is doing better than we're expected.
They're doing much better. 42nd minute, Saba and I can't remember who else it was. We're combining on the break down the left. I think it was Amador. No, because he wasn't in this game. I forget who it was. Anyway, it was Saba and Almiron, because Almiron came across and they forced it. It was a beautiful combination. Almiron saved again from close range. Sleaze wins it right back at the top of the box. I mean, this guy's poking the ball at our own 18, and he's winning the ball at the top of the box. So people who are like, oh, Sleaze isn't that good, he didn't deserve to be on the team. When you put him at the defensive, because last year, when Pineda started messing with him, like playing him in attacking midfield, which he has no business to play, and he was kind of going up and down, it wasn't so good.
Okay, all right.
But at defensive midfield, he was amazing, and he still pops up. He wins the ball right back. He gets it to Saba, and he has a great chance that he actually shot it to the far post. It was going in. The goalkeeper was completely beaten, and the defender cleared it off.
Okay.
So, again, people want to say...
So how many shots do we have total and on target in this Charlotte game?
I only got the stats at halftime, so I don't know. Okay. Maybe Carmen can look it up for us, total shots in the game.
Total stats.
We were 10-2 at halftime.
Wow.
And people are saying, oh, yeah, but we had a terrible second half, and it is true. The second half was not nearly as good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to say, now I can say we can go to the Red Bulls game first, but if you want me to tell you what is wrong with our offense, I can tell you.
So total 10, so we didn't get any shots in the second half?
No, we have 15 to 10.
Oh, sorry, yeah. So I had it back.
We outshot them 15-10 on the road against the best defensive team in all of MLS.
Only 3 on target, and
we
had
58% possession to their 42nd, which a lot was after they got the lead, but still. On the road, the Charlotte's like, oh, we dominated you, all their fans.
So
you didn't watch the same game I did.
Do you think it's because of what I said at the beginning of the show that we're not clinical enough in the final third because we're getting opportunities more than we've ever seen under the era of Pineda. We got shots. We got shots on target.
Yep.
Clearly at moments of the game we're recycling the ball, putting pressure on in certain windows.
Yep.
That's exciting. It's different. It's disappointing that we're not converting it. And to me, what I watched is like, oh, I see a bunch of players that just don't have it figured out together chemistry-wise. And it's the little things that, to be honest, it's kind of hard to coach that. I think you just need the minutes in the game to sort itself out.
One thing I will say is that, one critique. So first of all, we are playing our outside attackers inverted, right? So Almiron is a left footer playing on the right, and Saba is a right footer playing on the left. So they're playing inverted, okay?
Saba's left-footed.
Saba, I thought was left-footed. He's really like ambidextrous, whatever the foot word is that for that, whatever that is.
Great question.
But he has said, I heard him on an interview, say that
Dominant?
actually his better foot is his right foot.
Okay.
But he takes like corners with his left foot, so it's hard to, it's not like. But anyway, technically he's inverted. But anyway, what that means is that he's also the kind of player who's not just going to push it down the wing. So they are going to tend to come inside, right? Yep. And they're going to combine, which is awesome because they're going to combine with Latte Loth and they're going to combine with Miranchuk. And you've seen the freedom for them to go across. And they've created the magical overload that Pineda was always trying to get with just the stupid bombing outside backs. They've created it just naturally. And in a way that the defenders are not ready for it. And it's working much better.
Yep.
Okay? But when you do that, when you have a lot of guys coming inside, some people are critiquing that, okay, they're running into each other. And they're tight, right? And that can happen too. What you need is, if that's going to happen now, what you need is the Pineda airplane, okay? Yeah. What you need is, you don't need it very often.
Coming up.
You don't need it very often. You don't need it. You certainly don't need it all the time. You certainly don't need it early just standing there. But you need it that moment where they drift inside and they're on the ball, then they go. And in the first two games, right, or in these last two games that we're talking about, you had a Braum, which was never going to do anything going on that run, never, right? And then you had Edwards, and Edwards did get forward and got in those positions, but his service.
See, I'm gonna disagree with you right now.
Okay.
I hear you, and while having another overload from your fullback could create more pressure to create a better opportunity, I see like Pee-wee soccer type opportunities with the talent that we have that's already up there. Those four can do it.
I agree.
We don't need the overload.
Well, you need it. You don't need it like I certainly don't want airplanes. No.
But what I'm saying is I don't think in those moments of the game for us to be able to score, we ever needed the airplane flying up. I think it just had to do with that little decisions that weren't clinical enough amongst those really talented players.
Well, what I'm pointing out is that if you do it right, so first of all, what they're doing is only one of them is ever going at a time. Hallelujah. I mean, how many times did we say that, Carmen?
Yeah, a lot
Why
of times.
do we need both? You don't need both. You certainly don't. And upped our chances of scoring goals.
I just feel like, Dave, what I'm seeing is our front four are so far forward all the time that overlap is unnecessary. And if anything, and because you've got, let's say, Saba on the left or Almiron out on the left and or Saba out way on the right, it's more the timing of them passing it to each other. And I'd almost rather the fullback just be another body to come into the center of the box and finish it. Seems to be more of like, if I'm going to have them airplane, I want them to airplane into the center almost, because I feel like the players we have can get it done. I'd rather Almiron and Saba be crossing it than Amador and Edwards.
Well, there are two ways you can get forward, right? One is you win the ball up the field, which we're finally starting to do. When you do that in this system, those guys are back. And so, no, there is no other guy. It is Saba or Almiron out wide in those spaces and getting it. In transition, especially the very quick transition has been like Saba, Almiron, Miranchuk, those 4. But a few times we've had a nice outlet ball that's not truly in transition. They've come inside and it slows a little bit and then that moment is on.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. And it's only needs to be 2-3 times a game.
Yeah, and that's fair if it's in the development up front. I just feel like there was so many moments like we're just dominating way up the field.
Yeah.
And there isn't really that opportunity for the airplane moment.
So what I'm saying is that we did have it like Edwards, and then certainly not from Abram, but when Amador came in, right, he did it, right? And what happened was Edwards, and then actually there was a couple moments late in the game when Cobb came on for Edwards at right back. He had an opportunity to put a beautiful cross in. And he delivered a decent cross, but it was like 2 yards behind the guy, and we didn't get it, nothing. So I'm saying that I actually think you might be, you get ready for it.
Uh-oh.
I think Lennon is an upgrade.
Ooh.
I think that Edwards is actually a way better defender than Lennon, and I think long term, as he gets more mature and learns how to do the offensive, I think he could be just as good as Lennon, right? But right now, in that moment, the one thing that Lennon can do, he makes terrific decisions on those crosses. It didn't do us much good in the Pineda era because there was nobody in the box.
Yeah.
But now there's 3 guys in the box. And if you get Lennon those same exact chances that Edwards and Cobb had, he going to give us a goal.
Okay.
All right.
Because he can really deliver a ball. It suits him perfectly. Now, we're going to see when he comes back, is he going to be going forward too much? Or will Dyla have reined him back in? Amador was doing it perfectly. It was like the perfect 3 times when he needed him and not when he didn't need him. It was perfect.
So I'm going to take us to the Red Bulls game.
Okay.
So Red Bulls at Mercedes-Benz, last Saturday?
Yes.
7:30 kickoff.
That's correct.
And did either of y'all go? I can't remember.
That was there.
I did not.
Okay. Dave, you went. How was that atmosphere?
Great.
Good?
They didn't have the top open, but it was sold out and full.
45-ish, something like that. Okay.
All
right. And what's your overall take on that game, which ended up 0-0? The first 35 minutes, total dominance by Atlanta United. You and I are texting back and forth. I'm worried that we're not, watching tons of soccer games gets to that point where when you have so many moments and you don't put one of them away, bad things happen.
Yeah.
So I was actually waiting for the bad thing to happen, which almost happened with a counterattack of the Red Bulls 1 or 2 times, but it didn't happen, and we didn't get a win. But didn't lose. Also,
we can talk about first on the defensive side. So in contrast to the Charlotte game, where they're just a couple of times they got forward and whatever, they got a goal. They actually ended up with 10 shots against us.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe you can pull up what the total shots were. But the shots on goal were 0. So, when you can play a game without a goalkeeper, that's pretty good. Right? Like Guzan could have taken the day off and then we still would have had a shutout, right? Yeah. So that's and when's the last time, Mikey Dobbs, that
so we had 6 shots on target to their 0, and we had 10 shots total to their 7 shots total.
Right.
They dominated possession 60%.
Yeah. Do you remember a game in the Pineda era where the other team had 0 shots on goal?
No.
Ever? Ever? I mean, first of all, we didn't even have shutouts.
Yeah.
So by definition, there was a shot on goal when they get a goal. Yeah. We didn't have any shutouts. So this is, first of all, a shutout. That's a thing that was unheard of.
The stats are staggeringly different than the Pineda era.
That's correct.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean,
and that's why
that's why the panic button for you is a 1. For me, it's a 2.
Yeah.
For Carmen, it's a 3. Very low.
And it's not
right
just
now.
the stats, the eye test, right? I mean, so again, people will say, and I think there's a legit critique here, that in both games, and really all 3 games, we've started really well on the front foot. The first half has been terrific, and we faded a little bit. And we can talk about why that is. I don't really know why that is.
Yeah.
But almost we faded, I think, in a little bit because it almost can't be that good for that long. We pressed so well. We turned the ball back over. We dominated so much. You can only do against a professional team that for that long. And if you do that, you're going to score.
Well, that's the thing. For it to be sustainable, Dave, you've got to convert, which then it demotivates the other team, right?
Right.
You have to demotivate the other team by making it 2-3-0, and then keep the defense solid, right? And then, finish the game off.
And consistent with what I was saying about Click just being the code or whatever, he comes on in the 76th minute in this game, which is what you would do if you had a guy who was, clearly not ready to go because he was been sick all week.
But I remember just watching the game on Saturday, just being so thrilled in that joyful 20 minutes of soccer. When's the last time we saw Atlanta United play like that? So,
Tata, 2018
it didn't
MLS winning season. That's exactly when you saw it.
Fans, it didn't happen. We didn't score. We had a disappointing 0-0 tie at the end of it, but you didn't see soccer like that in the last 3 years.
And he already in the first podcast, if anybody, if you guys listen to it out there, we went over tactical board and we showed this hole that was in his system. There's this hole out wide, particularly up the field, and already they've started to close down that hole, which is a really good sign. Yeah. Ronnie Dyla's seeing it also.
Right.
David, under Pineda, we kept seeing week after week after week, here's the problem, here's the problem, here's the problem, nothing.
And by the way, go back to our last podcast. Dave does a tactical board breakdown of just how aggressive our front line is in pressing, which demands that the rest of the defense presses too, which is the press, which we've talked about many times. But boy, oh boy, our two forwards, Latte Loth and Miguel Almiron and Miranchuk, right? The four of them are just up in a line, putting pressure on the back line. And it's just like, and they were talking about that in the Red Bull game. They're like, it's just so hard for the Red Bulls to figure out how they break that, because it's such a high risk if they screw it up with those four players, they're going to get stabbed.
Maybe, Carmen, you can go to the 68th minute. It should be in the highlight package. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about, the final ball being what I think is kind of the problem.
Okay.
And a little bit of that is the guy who ended up on the final ball. In this case, it's Noah Cobb who ends up on the final ball. It's not really the guy you want. But if this is Lennon on the 68th minute, we can keep talking while you find it. If it's Lennon, then it's a goal.
Yeah.
Because Saba was open in the middle.
It's all the little things. It was little clinical things that let us down, which were either.
Here we go. Pause it. Yeah.
Okay.
What happened?
What did I do? Sorry, guys.
I don't know. You had it, and then go back to where you just were.
Anyway, palms that one away. Oh no, he didn't. It just went over the.
I'm going to talk about one thing while she's finding this clip. There was a real negative.
Yeah.
Again, it's a theme, right? So Guzan showing his age. He showed his age in the Charlotte game because he just palmed that ball right back to Zaha, who scored.
Yeah.
Right. And in this game, there is a early ball that's way out at the top of the box, and I think he's feeling the critique. Maybe he's listening to our podcast, he shouldn't be.
Brad, we're telling the truth.
But he
still love you.
He shouldn't be listening, because what I think the people are saying, he's old and he's not coming and getting to those like crosses and things. He's feeling it, right? So he comes in this case on a ball he had no business coming with. Now he got to it. Good for him.
That's good.
He got to it. But he also punched Latte Loth in the head, and now he's in the concussion protocol.
That's how he got his concussion?
Okay. Maybe I'm a Gen Xer here, but I watched that slow motion play of him getting. I mean, come on. Like in our day, the Latte, get up. I'm sorry.
He did get up. He played for another
and he kept playing.
10 minutes.
But now the doctors have said we were examining him, and he has no choice.
Yeah, it's not his fault.
Stop.
Not his fault.
It's all our fault for having concussion protocol.
Well,
okay,
you
Mikey.
can say that, but it's not. You can't say Latte Loth is soft. He just got up and kept playing. It wasn't him. You would have done the same, but you would also be in the concussion protocol, like he does. But
he got bumped a little bit. I mean, it's soccer.
But my point about that moment,
I watched it. Like, let's watch it. It's on slow motion.
Well, okay, let's do this first.
I'm heating up. I think we need the other.
Here we go.
Put the flames on the YouTube now. The flames on the Oh my goodness.
Does that work?
It's good. If those of you are on the YouTube channel, you see the new graphic. There's flames everywhere. That's amazing.
Everywhere.
Yeah. So we're going to show this clip, and then we'll get back to that. We can go to and we can argue about it. Right? So on this play in the 68th minute, we're going forward, and people are wondering why we're not scoring goals. And it's a little bit, I said, the final ball and who's ending up in this. So this normally, outside back getting forward, is going to be Brooks Lennon. Okay? It is not in this case. It's Noah Cobb. Right? And watch how open Saba is, and watch how Cobb hits the ball a little bit behind him. And it's no offense to Noah Cobb. He's not really a right back, but he shows why he's not Lennon. Play the clip. Miranchuk with another gorgeous ball out wide. Pause it. Okay? Do you think Lennon is putting that ball on Saba's head?
No.
Come on.
No, I'm being dead serious with you.
You think he is?
Yes.
I don't think that's the right ball.
All you have to do is bend it out in front of him, either on the ground
I don't think it's a header.
On the header.
I don't think it's a header.
But I'm saying my point is, does Lennon connect with Saba for the open shot at the 6 yard or at the 8 yard?
More likely than Cobb.
More likely.
Yeah. I think if you're going to criticize Lennon, and people criticize him a lot, I think you also have to say what he's really, really good at it. He's really, really good at making that ball.
Yeah. I think the curling softball for him to run onto on the ground is the right ball, which is a very difficult pass.
Yeah.
But that's the right one. But I think because the defender is in actually a really good angle right here, he's making it difficult to square it to him. And he's putting enough pressure to say, okay, if you go on goal, you're going to have a bad angle on the goalkeeper here. I think that, I don't know, let's see what he does first.
He gets it across, but he puts it a yard behind him or like behind him, and he ends up has no chance to score.
Yeah.
He can't score that.
So he basically tried to square it.
Yeah.
He didn't try to put it behind the defender. He tried to put it square.
That's exactly right.
Which is the wrong decision there.
Correct.
I think.
Got to put it out in front. I agree.
Yeah.
But Lennon puts that out in front, and he scores that, and we walk off with a 1-0 win.
Yeah.
That's the difference. But that's a slight difference that's only happening now, and it got better already with Amador because Amador was way better.
I will be honest, looking at that angle, that was a difficult angle for anyone to put the ball to Saba right there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think it would have had to been a very delicate ball behind.
To be honest, where we paused it, I actually think was ever so slightly late. He could have gotten there a little earlier, and I think Lennon would have attacked it more and hit it earlier.
The way that he got to the ball, all those things had to change to create the better angle on the defender.
I agree with you. But I think we did Cobb a disservice there, pausing it a little bit late because Lennon would have gotten there a little earlier and hit it out in front earlier.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So fair. Okay, so now you can go back and find the Guzan incident, which was...
Was that later on in the game?
No, it was earlier in the game.
Yeah. Is that the reason Latte Lot didn't score?
He was probably.
He was dizzy all game.
It's certainly why he came off early.
I don't think it was. I don't think that's why he came off early.
Yeah.
He didn't come off till later in the game, did he?
That's right. He came off for a while, but I think they were monitoring him.
Because he was tired and didn't score. It had nothing to do with him getting hit in the head. Dude, watch this. He did not get hit in the head that hard. I don't care what anyone says. He did not.
I actually don't have the minute.
Complete bollocks. Complete nonsense. Complete millennialism or whatever we call it.
Every time you just go off on the young generation, I think I'm just going to press it.
It was in the second.
I don't even think
it
his
was
head.
in the
Braguzan didn't even touch his head.
It was in the second half because
didn't even touch his head. Braguzan didn't even touch his head. Promise you.
And it was a ball played from the right. Let Carmen find it.
Y'all talk amongst yourselves.
I forgot to write it down on where it was in the highlight clip.
It's all right.
What else do you need to talk about?
You're going to want to get there because, you didn't touch him.
Because I'm trying to remember when he
bumped
came
into
out.
the other player, but it wasn't even like his head hit him. I mean, come on.
I'll find it. Y'all keep talking. I saw it like the time at some point when he got the actual concussion. Well, concussion protocol. But y'all keep talking. Just keep
all right. Anything more in the Red Bulls game, Dave? That we should have won, but ended up 0-0? Proud of us for not letting a goal in?
Well, this is what I was going to say. It was what's so different from the Pineda era is A, we got a shutout. B, we didn't get a shot on goal, right? Even in the Charlotte game, the goals that we gave up, right? People got beat, right? It wasn't just them getting up the field easily, right? I mean, somebody had to make a mistake. That's why I keep saying that. Like, somebody has to make a mistake, right, for it to happen. Maybe I have the wrong half, Carmen.
Maybe I have the wrong.
I'm like, we saw this one.
It must have been the first half because it's backwards on the clips where I was remembering.
I think
it was definitely the second half because they would have, I feel like, checked
it was the first half.
I think it was the first half.
Really?
Yeah, because he didn't get hit in the head, so it had nothing to do with the concussion, which is why he played the rest of the game. That's my point.
Oh, my goodness.
But you're not listening, Micah Dowse.
I don't need to listen. You're not listening to me. You didn't get a concussion.
I love getting him upset. It makes me happy.
There it is.
Was this it?
Stop.
Oh, okay. Wait, here we go. All right. Here we go. All right. The long-awaited. Here we go.
Let's go.
He probably really got knocked, right? Let's see. All right. Is this a Gen Z thing, or is this what are we calling millennial? What are we? I don't even know. I mean, he did get punched in the head, Mikey Dubs.
He did not. You watch it from the back. They won't even show it again. I watched it. It looks like he did, but he didn't even get.
Then why does he immediately grab his head?
He's a soccer player, for Christ's sake.
No.
Here we go.
Are you kidding me? Right now, why did he hold his head? He's a soccer player.
No.
It's like, oh my God.
Straight down. Guzan
Straight
waves
down.
like, well.
Oh my
You're
goodness.
wrong.
I will say there is a part of me now that people will grab their heads very quickly to get the play stopped. So I get that.
Not when you got punched by your own goalkeeper, they don't.
But he did get punched in the head.
He didn't get punched. I'm telling you.
But you don't fake it when you get. It's when an opponent does it.
You're going to find the replay. I'll show you. He does not get hit by Brad Guzan.
Yes, he does.
He does not.
He wouldn't be in the concussion protocol.
Yes, he
like
would.
He does if he didn't get hit.
But
why would he be in the
after
concussion?
the game though?
The doctors are not morons. They look at the clips from both hands and they're like, if they saw that he wasn't touched, he would say, "I'm not touched," and he wouldn't be in the concussion protocol.
I was in high school 7.5 years. I'm no idiot. I know what a concussion looks like.
I don't even know what I was pressing at this.
That's the right one. That's the right one you pressed.
Oh,
goodness.
So, Red Bulls 0-0.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? Oh, International Women's Day, Carmen.
Oh, shoot. You know what? You brought it up. Why did you have to go there?
Because I brought up that concussions are a problem in terms of protocol. And then, I don't know.
Uh-oh.
So there was going to
So
be some pressure on the female referee.
Yeah. So as they're talking, I have to admit I did not watch a lot of the New York game because it was UNC Duke Day, and so I did watch it at halftime.
Oh.
But as y'all are texting, it was noticeable that the refereeing, it doesn't sound like it was good. I challenged Mikey Dobbs that if he could really criticize so harshly the refereeing on International Women's Day, but the part I saw.
Well,
it was warranted.
You know, it's classic Mikey Dobbs when I'm like, it was like opposite day. Like, I'm arguing for or yellow cards against us, right?
Yeah,
that's right.
That's true.
This is the guy who got sent off for arguing a red
sexist,
card.
right? I'm like, oh my gosh,
her.
why isn't she giving us a yellow card?
Fair.
And then ironically, like you saw the other team like doing the same thing, like, you know, it's just a weird situation with it was like she used the cards in the opposite way they should have been used.
Yeah. So here's what I think happened.
Okay.
So obviously there haven't been many referees in the center that are women in MLS. It's happened before, but not much.
Yep.
Right. So that's tough. You're put in a place where. So I think that she was trying to do two things at once, which are not great. One, she was trying to let the players play, which is good. But she was also trying to maintain authority at the same time. And when you do that, and you try to extra let them play when there are incidents, but you're still trying to maintain your authority, what happens is you let something go that you shouldn't, and then you over yellow card when you should, and it starts to become a little arbitrary.
Yeah.
And that's what happened.
I 100% agree. I mean, yeah, it is a difficult situation she's in. She's under the spotlight. She's probably one of the best MLS refs out there.
I think she refereed the Women's World Cup final.
Quite possible.
Yeah.
That's what I think people were saying.
I'm just saying,
So I think she's
agree.
terrific referee.
I think look, MLS refereeing in general has a lot of improvement that is needed across the board.
Uh-huh.
So pick on her as easily as anyone else. I agree. I felt like it was that balance that she started to lose right from the very beginning.
She didn't do either things. She didn't influence the game, so that's good. In the end, and then B, she didn't give a red card in the end. And so much of the early refereeing that you're talking about in MLS, they would A, influence the game, and B, give red cards.
That is
so she didn't do that.
So I will give her, I give her kudos because that game could have easily been that it could have gotten out of control.
Yep.
And she was able to keep the wheels on the bus.
She did a little bit barely, but overall it was not a good performance.
But she let the players decide the outcome of that game, which is the most important thing. So I agree.
Yeah, and I felt bad, because I think, we want to see. There's zero reason why women can't be refereeing these games. Zero, right?
Was it an all women's crew? I know one of the lines
one
was like,
was
dude.
man. Yeah.
Okay.
The bad one, actually. The woman who was running the lines was right on it. The man was like, there was a couple times he was like, one of those like, oh, it's blatantly off, but I'm not going to do it right away just in case. You're like, come on. So the woman was actually, the lines woman was way better than the lines man.
So let me make sure I'm understanding this. So what you're saying is women are better than men.
Yeah, sure.
That's what I heard.
Sure.
Okay.
That's fine.
Continue.
We all know that. Let's not.
I just wanted to clarify.
Something that
just wanted to clarify. Continue.
Okay. Don't tell Leah she's upstairs.
Shh.
So Miami this Sunday, 7:30, Mercedes-Benz.
That is correct.
Messi traveling to Atlanta.
Yes.
He is.
Messi gonna play.
Yes.
60th minute.
No, Messi is going to start.
I kind of had that hunch too.
So Messi had a little bit of a knock.
He's not played the last 2 games.
Well, yeah. So he's had a little bit of a knock, and they had all this extra stuff because they had CONCACAF Champions League, right?
Oh.
So he's played in those matches, and that's kind of tough. So he's played extra matches, and he got a little bit of a knock. So they rested him for 1 game, like he was out for 1 game for small injury. And then this last weekend, he was on the bench, but he didn't play. So that says to me that they were being, and the reason why he didn't play, in my opinion, I think he would have played off the bench. So I think Mascherano would have had him 60th minute in this game to start in our game because he really needs him on the road against Atlanta to beat them, but to beat us. But I think what happened, so Miami got a red card in like the 20-something minute. So when you get a red card that early and you're kind of hunkering down, they didn't bring on Messi. And they didn't have to bring him on because they scored and they won. So the entire game, they were holding on to a 1-0 lead. If you're holding on to a 1-0 lead, you just don't play Messi.
Right.
So the other X factor is Argentina has 2 international games right after this Atlanta United game.
Yeah, but I don't think Mascherano cares about that.
Well,
but does Messi? Is he the one running?
Messi's running the show. And Messi always wants to play, period, the end.
Yeah, who doesn't?
So I also think that it's to his advantage to play at least a large portion of this Atlanta United game.
Makes sense.
As a way to be fit and ready for the international games if he's going to make a difference in those games.
Yeah.
So I think everybody's wrong with everybody's like, oh, he's not going to play against Atlanta. I think we're going to see him either start or play a significant.
I think he's going to start.
I think you're right.
Okay.
I think everything lines up. I think Mascherano is treating this like he should be.
It's too bad we can't have a bet. This would be like a perfect bet for me to lose.
Right? But you agree with me.
But I agree with you.
Wait, is there somebody out there?
I was about to say.
Is there somebody out there who wants to take the bet?
Keep talking, cats. Eventually, Mikey Dobbs will just be like, you know what?
He's not going to play.
I do believe he's going to start the game.
Yeah, I think he's going to start the game, and it's going to be 7. Because the other thing is, it's a big game for Miami, right? Early on in the season against a tough team, they know Atlanta's going to be a contender, so they want to win.
So who is our starting lineup, knowing that Latte Lot is out of concussion protocol, which never existed?
I think that means that latte loft is not going to play.
Really?
Yeah.
How? When? I guess, yeah.
Because this is all the concussion, precaution. I don't know because
Dave,
nobody really
you
knows.
understand how the brain works better than any of us. Like, is it like I understand? I've had my head rocked a couple times, but
That's clear.
Isn't 9 days enough for him to, put it on some ice and?
Well, Carmen, you can talk about it because your son's a goalkeeper. He's been in the concussion protocol.
I've had more
multiple
concussions.
I was
times.
about to
anyone
say,
here.
Mikey Dobbs has had probably more than all of us combined.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Whether they were actually
And it shows.
diagnosed and how many protocols he's been on, not
0
too sure.
protocol for me.
So how many days is it in high school?
Oh,
Carmen?
geez. Because this was his second one, so my son just came off last week from it was 2.5 weeks for him because it was his
but
second
the first
one.
one is 10.
Yeah,
10
the
days.
first one, I think for him, they weren't completely sure it was a concussion, so I think it was a week.
Okay.
And I think it was more nose than head, but then this one was close
So
to 3
maybe he'll
weeks.
get cleared.
He might.
Because I don't think it's a bad concussion. I agree with you.
It wasn't a concussion.
That's a great Mikey Dobbs. Seriously, if you had to actually count how many times your bell got rung, where in this generation you would have been sorry,
No,
concussion protocol, you gotta sit.
No,
out.
I'm actually worried for myself. Jokes aside, I've had some very bad concussions from a lot of dumb stuff.
Not
mainly,
just soccer.
Mainly snow skiing.
Okay.
I mean, just absolutely ringing my bell.
Uh-huh.
Before the days of helmets and with the days of helmets, both.
The helmet doesn't.
I've come down from
think it does.
20 feet and bounced my head off of the snow.
Oh,
Hard,
geez.
right? I've the other things that aren't podcast news here.
I have to say, to show you that there was no concussion protocol, when I was playing youth soccer growing up, and I was 13 or whatever, my bell rung, got hit really hard, hit the ground. I think hit my head against the ground as well as being hit in the head, right?
Right.
Had some issues, right? And came off the field, and it was a big game. And it was pretty late in the game, so the coach really needed me, and he was like, okay, how are you doing? And I'm like, I'm totally fine, whatever. And he put me back in the game, and I started to go the wrong way, to attack our goal, and they had to stop.
Isn't that what you normally do?
Yeah.
And
sure.
the coach did say you have to come off, but there was still no concussion protocol. If there's ever evidence that there was a concussion there, when you're going the wrong way, I thought we were checking the other goal.
I mean, I feel like people of our generation, if you played soccer, you had at least one concussion that no one really
I
called a
had two.
concussion. I think I had one bad one where I actually ran into the freaking goalpost.
Yeah,
And
goalposts will do it.
You would think.
You
right?
want to hear the
How
other?
did you get your concussion though?
You want to hear the other one?
In
That's
soccer,
really
what
embarrassing.
did you hit your head on?
That one was just I got hit and then I hit the ground, I think. But
Okay.
I have a really crazy concussion story.
All right.
So when I was 17 years old, I'm playing for the New York State ODP team, which is a big thing in those days. And we had a winter training camp. So, because winter in New York, miserable, you can't train. So they flew us down to Florida to train in the winter. So we're training at Coco Expo, which was a really awesome facility at the time, and the national team. And it was awesome because the very first women's World Cup team was in their final preparations. They were just about to make the final cuts to who was going to World Cup in China.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So we were down there, they were down there, and their coach, Anson Dorrance, who was the coach, asked if we could scrimmage the women's national team. So I got to play 2 scrimmages against the women's national team. I played against Mia Hamm, and I played against Michelle Akers-Stahl, and I got to play against Julie Foudy, and all of them. Okay? So late in the second game, I was playing center midfield.
Okay.
Late in the second game, there's a ball played through. I made a perfectly timed run, Mikey Dobbs. It was glorious.
Mia Hamm smashed you.
No. So I get behind their defense, and I'm running in on goal, right? The goalkeeper, Brianna Scurry, who was not the starting goalkeeper. I think she was the backup goalkeeper.
Who was starting goalkeeper?
I don't remember. You have to look it up.
I'll look it up.
And was fighting for a final spot. She comes 30 yards out. I gave her the dip of the shoulder, go right by her. She just lowered her shoulder, and I wasn't expecting it because it was a scrimmage.
Yeah.
And she was fighting for a spot on the team, and put it right into my head. I don't remember anything.
I'm sorry. Wait, let me just make sure. So you got a concussion from Brianna's skirt?
That's correct.
I'm like giddy right now.
That's what happened. I got knocked out by the women's national team goalkeeper.
Sounds like you forgot what happened.
I don't remember anything for like.
So for all we know, you made this story up.
Well, I remember running in. I remember everything up until the moment, and I was like showboating a little bit. I like gave her the leg, and I'm gonna walk it in, kind of thing, against this girls' team, like show them. And at the time, so we ended up with a 2-1 victory and a 2-1 loss, I think. And I think in the second game we were losing 2-1, and I was about to tie the score. So I was like, "This is awesome." And in those days, know anything.
My story is not as exciting where I almost lost my junk. I was in England and playing Kidderminster, which I think they're in like the first or second now. I know they were in the FA Cup, made a run a couple of seasons ago. But yeah, probably second or third division. And this guy came out and just cleaned me. And I thought I lost my important jewels. Because it was they didn't want to lose to a bunch of Yanks.
Of course not.
So, no concussion, but that would have been worse.
Yeah. Thank goodness. You have lovely children.
Thank you. That would have been the moment. They would have been gone. The locker room, quickly.
Man. I'm just so giddy that Kat's got concussed by Brianna. Okay, sorry.
Right.
Continue.
So,
all right.
Back to Miami. We went on a rabbit hole there, which I love. Are we going to win, Dave? Against Miami? Messi's starting. Luis Suarez is scoring goals. Anton Griezmann's coming over the summertime for enforcement. Did you hear that rumor?
What?
Yeah, he's going. He's going to go to L.A.
You think he's going to L.A.? He might go to L.A., one of the L.A. I know he's jealous Giroud is playing at
I'll go to LAFC.
LAFC. He may go out there. I heard a rumor he's going to Miami, though.
The sad thing is we know it's either L.A. or Miami. Like, I feel like at some point, I know what's
one of the L.A. teams or Miami.
Right.
Yeah.
Atlanta has good strip clubs, too. Anyway, who's going to win?
I think the goalkeeper was Amy Allman.
I've never heard that.
And actually, Brianna Scurry didn't make the team in the end. I think she didn't get better because the coach got pissed at her. Knocking me out.
You can't be knocking out.
So I think
anyway, go ahead.
I think Atlanta and Miami tie at home 2-2. Because there's going to be goals. Maybe even 3-3. I mean, cuz I think we're well, if Latte Lot does not start, then that's a different equation.
Big issue.
That is a big.
Although we do have a
everything.
decent, we have Tiare and we have Silva. I might.
Yeah. But we haven't seen Silva in any significant
No, he's come off
role
the bench
so far.
No,
We've seen him off the bench once, right?
I think twice.
And he's
Okay.
done well against Miami in the past, so okay.
But you got to figure Tiare.
I just think the pass is not a good barometer right now for us. I think it's a completely different style that we're playing that we need to execute correctly against Miami, who's also going to be offensively geared. It's going to be an interesting matchup, don't you think?
Yes.
I mean, it's going to be a wild game because both teams are so front end heavy with the major flaw in the back that I think maybe we'll see a little bit of a chess match in the first half, Dave, of teams really slowly feeling each other out? Or do you think we're going to see both teams just be super aggressive? I think we're going to see, I mean, we have to be aggressive, right, Carmen?
I think aggressive. I think we do have to come out and try to score. I mean, we got to score.
Got to score.
So we may as well come out aggressive, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So just answering the question. So Atlanta United announced that Latte Lath has entered the concussion protocol. He's being evaluated on a day-to-day basis. Comes after the forward took a hard collision while defending a set piece. Yeah, he got punched in the head by
He
Guzan.
didn't get punched in the head.
Anyway,
I've watched it a million times. There's
it's
no
unclear at this point whether
Guzan's hands never touched his head.
it's unclear at this
Promise
point
you.
whether he'll be available for the club's next big match, and they expect to know more information as Ronnie Diala speaks to the media later in the news conference later this week.
Okay. All right.
That's all I know. Go ahead, Carmen. Did
So,
you
Carmen,
say?
what's your
Okay.
score? What's the score line?
Okay. I've been too positive in the past. I'm going to be the what do you call it? Negative
Oh.
Nelly, whatever it's called.
Debbie Downer?
Debbie Downer. I'll be
There.
Debbie Downer. I think we lose 2-3.
That's a good call. I think 3-3, 2-2 is a good call. I think losing 3-2, winning 3-2. I think they're going to be goals.
Yeah.
For sure.
All of these are good.
I don't expect our defense to get a shutout against Miami for sure, because I think that Messi will start. Obviously, if Messi doesn't start, it's a bigger difference. But they have a ton of attacking talent even when he doesn't start. They've been scoring goals against everybody even when he doesn't play. I think that we will start to score, particularly at home. It's much better chance if Latte Loth goes. I'm going to say if Latte Loth plays.
Zero goals in the last 2 games for Atlanta United.
Yeah, I get it.
Latte Lot not starting.
But Miami's
It's a problem.
defense is a lot worse. The Red Bulls and Charlotte were 2 of the best defensive teams in the whole MLS last year. So keep that in mind.
Okay.
All right. And Miami was not. Miami scores a ton of goals, but they're not. So we're going to score at home. I've been saying we've been going to score 3 goals, and it's coming, but I'm going to say no.
And Rios was in goal for Miami in the last game.
Oh, my
I don't know if
God.
he's going to be starting.
Wait, I'm sorry.
Rios
Say
Novo.
what?
Rios Novos was in
Yeah.
for Miami in the last game.
Where's their real
So
keeper?
pathetic.
Yeah.
He was hurt. I
Don't
think,
know
or
where he
something. I
is.
don't know whether he come back. But anyway.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was
that's-
gonna say we're due. We're gonna start scoring 3 goals at home regularly, but I think we're not quite ready to that. I've been predicting a little more, so I'm gonna say 2 goals for us.
okay.
I think, and it obviously depends if Latte Loss plays. If he doesn't, then maybe downgrades. I think that Miami's gonna score. I don't see us giving up less than 1. They're probably gonna give up 2. So I'm going to go 2-2 draw.
Okay.
2-2. All right.
All right.
But
Well,
I think a high-scoring game that can go either way is a valid call.
yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to go positive then, since it just to be positive, 3-2 Atlanta United. I was going to go 3-3,
Yeah.
but I'll go 3-2 Atlanta United.
All right.
Because I do feel like watching the Red Bulls game, something's got to click.
It's coming.
It's coming. Just like in that game, the
click
goal was
starting will click.
click. The Polish pivot's back.
Yeah, and that makes a difference. I mean, actually, he's a way
Should
better
we make some pins that say the Polish pivot? Or
I like it.
We got to do something.
sticker for sure.
Did you know
Oh,
that Gregerson, being the is Norwegian?
Norwegian, I think.
He's Norwegian. He played for Solskjaer.
Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, yeah.
Yeah, he was his coach.
Okay.
And yeah,
Briefly in
just
Norway.
briefly.
Prior to being
But they're
at Man
friends.
United.
I saw an interview
Yeah.
with the
Okay.
2 of them, and so Solskjaer knows Ronnie Dyla and knows
Yep.
his coaching, and
Right.
so really they're all and Gunny's from the same town as Gregerson.
Well, there's only so many towns.
There's only so many
It's
towns.
Norway.
It is Norway.
It's a small country.
You're like, oh yeah, you ski down that hill to this town. Eh?
yeah.
Yeah. So it was a good. It's on the Atlanta United channel. If you haven't seen the documentary on Gregerson, it's pretty good.
No,
Okay.
I haven't. I heard
Well,
he's
it's
a
on
huge
Apple
ra-
TV.
I heard he's a huge rap fan.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. Because apparently when he was coming, they were like, what do you know in Atlanta? And he's like, I don't know anything about the city of Atlanta. I just know all the rappers.
Yes.
Okay.
And
I
he's-
do remember that.
Yeah. So he was excited about that. So if you're out at the rap concerts, you'll probably see Gregerson. And you can't miss him because he's real
Oh,
tall.
He is real tall.
He's tall.
So,
So
Oh.